What's up, guys? Heart Pirates TCG here. I am bringing you a Katakuri deck list that I have played about 20 games on the simulator and I have yet to lose, and I think this deck is really good. The only deck I haven't played against is obviously its main counter, which is a Law, but I played Zora, I played Whitebeard, I played Rebecca, Crocodile, other mirror matches. This deck is just so good. So let me go over it and just kind of tell you why I'm playing what I'm playing, and things you might be able to take out if you want to. So obviously we're playing Katakuri because we like the 7k swing, and we're not really playing a heavy life trigger like engine. So I'll just kind of explain what we're doing. So 4 Sanji, 2k counter obviously, and then we're playing 4 Cracker. Cracker is one of the only triggers that we are playing that is an offensive trigger. Cracker is just a solid, if you are ever down a life, like the double strike really does help. It can help you close games. It's just really good in general. 4 Pudding. Pudding's a searcher. No reason to discuss it right there. Then we got 3 Sparrow, another offensive trigger that is a searcher. Him and Cracker are the only offensive triggers that we are playing. And we're, of course, 4 Big Mom, absolutely insane, especially if there's not a lot of laws in the format because Rebecca's are beating them. I think Big Mom is just infinite value. I think it's just ridiculously good. 4 Struzen can end games, pop 1 cost blockers, and then kind of just, swing from there. 3 Shirahoshi. Shirahoshi is just a trash cards that you don't need. For example, we are playing 3 cats, so we are playing a lot of cards that don't have counter. So Shirahoshi is just to clean those up. But you can also put them on top of your life with the 3 Katakuri right here. Katakuri honestly has been fantastic. A lot of times I don't even like giving my opponent back life. If anything, like I'll Katakuri my Pudding back to the top of my life, or my Sanji back to the top of my life if it survives. Brule, Shirahoshi. There's just a lot of cards I can put back because I don't like giving my opponent life. Obviously you can do that, but honestly with that extra life barrier that Katakuri gives you. Looks like my battery just died, so let me go ahead and here, turn that off real quick. Let's see, there we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, so honestly, a lot of the times what I just do is I put Pudding or Shirahoshi or whatever at the back of the top of my life, and or Brule, and then that extra life buffer really does help. And you don't give them life, so they don't last an extra turn that they shouldn't. By the way, if you guys want to see more, if you guys want to see games of this, I consider having some friends over on Sunday. After the Chiefs game, because I'm gonna go to the Chiefs versus Jaguars game. So after that game, I might have some friends over who might playtest with this list. So comment down below if you guys want to see that. It'll be a live game. So then we're playing 4 Beige. Beige is just replacing Pudding from last set. Beige is just infinitely better than Pudding. Trigger is basically one of your opponent's leaders or characters can't attack. It honestly is better than Red Hawk in my opinion, because they literally can't attack. Like if you Red Hawk a Big Mom, for example, a 10 cost Big Mom, they put 3 Dawn on it and attack for 5. With Beige, can't even do that. It's just you are locked, right? So I think that's really good. Then we're playing 3 Sanji. I just couldn't find the room for 4, but we are playing 4 Brule. I guess you could take out Brule, but I just don't like discarding cards, because I mean we are playing a couple cards that obviously are dead and potentially in hand, like Sovereignty or maybe Katakuri or one of the Big Moms, maybe Sparrow. But I usually kind of play around not discarding those. Like I try to, in every hand I have that has like multiple big characters in it, I try to play around a way, or I try to play in a way that would allow me to play them. So I just don't like discarding, even though Sanji is really good. It can be an offensive trigger if you want it to, but it is a blocker. So then we're playing double Sparrow and double Randolph. The reason I'm playing 1 or 2 of each is because I don't want to lose dice roll and be able to not have like a curve to play. So for example, my going second curve would be like Sanji, Cracker, Sparrow, Katakuri, for example, right? That's just like, you can play those. But, if you're going first, if you lose a dice roll or whatever, I mean, I prefer to go second in this deck, obviously. But if you lose the dice roll and go first, you have the Pudding into Sparrow, into Randolph, into 7 cost Big Mom, into whatever, Katakuri, whatever, which is still a good curve to have. Obviously, you are sacrificing a little bit of the early game in some situations, but, if you don't have, in the early game, if you don't have one of your Sanjis or your Crackers or your Puddings or your Sparrows, even a Brule, you know, like you can, like there's still tons of like early game cards you can play, and we're just kind of making this deck into like a bruiser style build. I don't like relying on triggers, so I just think this deck is a lot better into stuff like that. Like I think this deck is a lot better into decks that, for example, Whitebeard. This deck is actually really good into Whitebeard. I played 5 or 6 Whitebeard games and I beat them every single time, because Parasparrow and Randolph are just very good. And then obviously we have, you know, 8 more cards or 7 more cards in life that could save us from one of their lethal attacks. So, you know, I think this is pretty good. And then obviously, since we're relying less on triggers, it means that, you know, decks like Zoro, we don't have to keep taking life to kind of, you know, to beat them, you know, to like maybe trigger into something. The thing about Zoro is like Katakuri used to lose to Zoro a lot because, you know, on top of them swinging 5 at life every single time, we would discard cards to play our characters, which obviously could combat the board. But I found that, you know, when I was playing against Katakuris, they would have like 2 cards in hand, 3 cards in hand, and you'd be able to math them out of like every single combat phase pretty much. So we're playing this in a way that, you know, you don't need to keep discarding cards to build a board presence. You can just do that naturally with your curve, and then like you establish bodies that just can't be removed from the field. Like, you know, it's very hard to remove a Randolph or a Parasparrow. Randolph obviously can get bounced with Croc or like 3000 Worlds, but Parasparrow can't. They'd have to Red Rock him or Mihawk him. Even if they do 10 cost Kaido, you know, they'd have to remove either your Katakuri or your Linlin or Parasparrow. Like, they can't remove both. So overall, just really strong. I like it a lot. I think Parasparrow is actually a little bit better than Randolph, but I want to be able to have a curve that is different than a going first curve. So 4 Brule, blocker out of life, that's really good. And then we have a double Linlin, just a solid card. I don't like that she is 7. Obviously, a 7/8 is great, and trashing a life or gaining life is great. But, you know, later on in like, you know, when you reach 7, 8, 9, 10 Dawn, you just kind of want to have cards that I wouldn't say do more, but like you want to start being able to have like more complex plays than just like dropping Linlin and then like swinging 5 with your leader and all that. Like I like, honestly, in some situations, if I have like Randolph or Parasparrow and like I have 8 Dawn, like, and I have the option of playing Linlin or Katakuri, in most situations I just play the Katakuri, because like obviously establishing a body is great, but getting that guaranteed life that you like will recycle itself, like Sheer Hoshi or Pudding or, you know, whatever it is that you put back, or even Brule, is just honestly a little bit better than them trashing 1 life, you know, because you know, sometimes life can be a little bit scary even by the time you hit 7 Dawn, you know, like you hit 7 Dawn, you might take 3 life the next turn if, you know, they're playing an aggressive deck. So we like to have that guaranteed you know, life with Katakuri while establishing a body. So that's why I'm only playing 2 Linlin and 3 Katakuri. And then we're playing 3 Sovereignty. Sovereignty is just another card that'll save you out of life. We play 6, 10. We play 13 cards that don't have trigger in this deck, not including the Sovereignty, because, you know, I mean, technically, if we're including Sovereignty, that we're playing 16. But Sovereignty can discard those other, I guess, technically 15 cards off trigger, 2 of those to gain a life, and, you know, that life could even be a Sanji or a Beige or, you know, a Brule or something like that. So it's just really strong overall, and I don't think this deck, especially next set with, you know, people playing, like, if they play Rosinante or if they play Sabo, or, you know, a lot of cards, like, there's a lot of bigger characters out next set. So, you know, Thunderbolt kind of lost its magic a little bit, and we just don't need to rely on triggers anymore with Thunderbolt. Obviously, you can play Thunderbolt and like Big Mom, you know, like starter deck Big Mom, the leader. But in Cat, I think Thunderbolt is kind of I think it's a thing of the past. So like I said, guys, if you want to see more, if you want to see videos of this deck kind of playing, just let me know, and I'll have I'll try to have some friends over, and we can get a couple games in, then I'll post it on like Monday or Tuesday or something like that. But thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Peace.